Hi Pisces, welcome to Ishuna's Tarot. I went ahead and pre-shuffled and laid out the spread and connected to spirits. If you're waiting on a private reading, those were all sent out tonight, okay? So make sure to check your inbox. There's a couple more going out tomorrow morning, so be on the lookout for those. If you would like a private reading, all the information's in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started, Pisces. Ace of Cups is the general energy for this reading, okay? Followed by the Queen of Pentacles, and the Moon in the reverse, and the Seven of Wands. Okay, so what I'm getting from this energy, just like in general and overall, is I have to be honest, like when it comes to matters of like the heart and matters of love, there has been a lot of disappointment and there has been a lot of imbalance, to where if you were to allow yourself to open up to connections and relationships, most of the time you end up out in the cold. Okay, Five of Pentacles. So it's not necessarily it feels like that kind of energy of like being so hard for you to trust again, and being so hard for you to open up again, and then when you finally get the courage to decide to open up to love again, it's like you constantly end up in this Five of Pentacles, okay? And most of the connections that you engage in, again, for the ones that resonate, okay, if this doesn't resonate, then it's most likely not your reading. But Ace of Cups, okay, I can't deny the energy. Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, all right? Queen of Cups, Eight of Wands. This is talking about relationships, connections, and yeah, love, and the energy that you put out not being reciprocated, okay? You not receiving back what you give out. And Pisces, again, it's very hard for a Pisces to feel understood, or to feel like people can reciprocate what they can do for others. Like a Pisces is a ride or die type of person, okay? Like they're with you 100%, or they're not with you at all, okay? Pisces can be so loving that they can drown you in so much love and so much beauty in their energy. Again, Queen of Cups. You feel like an entire ocean of love and happiness, but at the same time they can turn into sadness, and you can even drown in that ocean sometimes. And so it all happens, Pisces, because your emotions are so intense. Like Pisces, any little emotion that anybody could pick up on, like you feel 1,000 times that, okay? Which again makes you emotionally intelligent, and it helps you connect with all kinds of people from all walks of life, Pisces. Like you have this gift to you where you can naturally connect with so many kinds of people, because you feel so deep. And just because of this, again, some people call it a gift, other people call it, I don't want to say the word, but other people see it as something that is not necessarily something they want to have, because they feel like it brings them more sadness and more depression, and sometimes more grief than upliftment. But again, it goes both ways. It's a double-edged sword. And so what I'm seeing here, Pisces, is you are the Queen of Cups, okay? You do overflow and give so much of yourself, and when you're invested all the way, okay? For Pisces, there is no gray area. It's black or white. You're in or you're out. You're with me or you're not, like that kind of situation. And so Pisces is the ride or die. Pisces goes all in. And so what I'm seeing here, Pisces, is again a lot of imbalance, and a lot of feelings of scarcity and being left out in the cold, and sometimes feeling alone when it comes to love, right? When it comes to the actions, when it comes to the material stuff, like there's not much reciprocation. There can be a lot of passion in the connection, there can be a lot of emotion in the connection, but when it comes to the real stuff, like the long-term commitment, like let's live together, let's create and make something out of it, like the energy is just not matched, or just not balanced, if that makes sense. So this energy, Pisces, is not something that is new for you, okay? For the ones that resonate with this, is like every time that you have convinced yourself to open up to love and loving relationships, whether platonic, romantic, or friendships, it's like you haven't felt like you get back what you give, okay? And that creates this imbalance within you of like, wow, I feel like I'm in this connection alone. Like, might as well just be alone, because I feel like I'm doing this alone. It's like the person can be around you, you can even be in the same room, but you don't feel like your energy is matched. You don't feel like they give you back what you give into this connection. And therefore you just, you know, you choose to be like the warrior. You choose to be tough. You choose to walk alone, okay? Because you'd rather do that than be in a connection that doesn't reciprocate and doesn't even match your energy. And again, you feel so intensely because that's how you are with everybody, Pisces. But if you really were to think about it, and get in this like witty, clever energy that you also possess, it's like, you know that logically it doesn't make sense. Logically, this person doesn't even make sense for you. You don't, like, it doesn't even look good on paper. Like, there are more qualifications and more life experience and more that you can do for that person than that person can do for you. So it's not necessarily like something that makes sense. It's not a relationship that would even make sense. It doesn't even look good on paper. But you oftentimes, with the Queen of Cups, choose to look past that and see the best in people and see what people can become rather than what they are and who they are and how they even show up. Okay? And so this loving, overgiving energy about you kind of gets you in these rough places, okay? It's kind of like you break your own heart. They don't even have the privilege to break your heart because you break it yourself. Okay? And I know that might not be what a lot of people want to hear, but you looking past the red flags, you looking past their efforts and what they're actually showing you is oftentimes what gets you in trouble. Okay? And again, logically, you know that. You're very intelligent, Pisces. A lot of people think that Pisces are very like in tune with their emotions and very intuitive, and yes, that's the truth, but Pisces are very intelligent beings. Like, they are naturally very intellectual and intelligent, okay? A lot of people can feel more of like that emotional vibe in the Pisces, like very tuned into emotions, very loving, very caring, very nurturing. But Pisces are very intellectual, okay? And they're very intelligent, very smart. So you always kind of know, okay? You always kind of know. Pisces, okay? Whoever it is that this reading is for, whoever is tapping into this energy and resonates with this, is like, you can really see through people, okay? Not just from an emotional level, but like logically, you can scan them up and down and kind of like get their entire life story and see the kind of person that they are. But even then, when you, it's like your heart and your mind are at war, okay? We have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. It's like your mind is like, okay, kind of like, if you can see here, it's like, there's a math equation, okay? It's like she's doing the math. It's like, okay, things don't add up with this person. Maybe the numbers don't add up, maybe logically, maybe their background, maybe who they are as a person, maybe how they show up. No, this doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense for me to involve myself in this relationship or to even invest into it, okay? It's like you're running all these numbers and making the equations, asking all the right questions, all the formulas, and it's like, no, it doesn't add up. This person is not going to be a good investment for me, right? And it's like you read so much, there's so much intelligence to you. There's a lot of like, when you want to do this, Pisces, you can be very witty, very clever, okay? And very intelligent with your speech, okay? And very sophisticated, okay? As you can see, she looks very sophisticated. But oftentimes you choose not to. You choose to allow the emotions to guide you in your life. And it's a very beautiful energy, Pisces, but people often see that as weakness, okay? And you're anything but weak. You're the freaking 9 of Wands, right? You've been through so many battles, so many wars. You're the 12th sign in the zodiac. You've seen it all, okay? You've lived through so much of it. You've built so much resilience and perseverance. Like, Pisces, out of any sign, is the most versatile, adaptable, and the one that can endure the most, okay? That's why it gets to the 12th zodiac sign, the oldest one, okay? But oftentimes, people only see you as this, and they overlook that you're intelligent and very wise and very sophisticated. You can be witty and clever whenever you want to be. You are the warrior. You've been through so many battles, so many lifetimes to even make it to this place in your life. But oftentimes, because you're so in tune with your emotions, people may only see this, but they don't see everything else about you. But the fact of the matter, Pisces, is that your heart and your mind are oftentimes at war, okay? Because your heart doesn't rationalize. Your heart is not necessarily connected to the mind. Your heart, if your heart just develops that connection, that bond, you may not even want to fall in love. You may not even want to have that bond or that connection. It just happens. For some of you, I'm just getting that it just happens. You don't know how it happened. You don't know when it happened. It just hits you. And all of a sudden, you feel connected to this person on an emotional level, on an intellectual level. All of a sudden, you've established a full-on telepathic communication with this person that you didn't even want to begin with. Like, your mind was like, red flags. This is not adding up. This is a bad investment of my time, of my energy. I can do better than this. But then the heart is like, wow, I can really see who they can become. Maybe we can work things out. It's like you just start feeling all these emotions. To be honest, Pisces, it feels like a drug, okay? And not to say this like in a negative way, but Pisces energy can be very addicting, okay? Like, people naturally get addicted to Piscean energy, okay? Pisces is ruled by Neptune, by fantasies, by illusions, and oftentimes for some of people, addictions, okay? An addiction doesn't necessarily have to be a drug, but it feels a lot like a drug, okay? Love is literally a drug, okay? It has that dopamine hit that not even a drug can amount to, okay? Some drugs, like, after a while, like, it just doesn't hit you. But when it comes to love, Pisces, you could have your heart broken so many times, but as soon as you get that dopamine hit, okay, those chemicals that begin to get released in the brain, okay, love is a chemical, okay? Like, I'm not just saying like unconditional oneness kind of love, but no, like that love, that attraction, like when you make that connection with somebody, okay, that emotional, intellectual connection, that energetic connection with somebody, you are getting dopamine hits oftentimes, okay? You get the text, you're smiling. They don't text, you feel heartbroken, you feel like the world is ending. It's literally like a drug, Pisces. And I'm gonna say this, I think this might just be for one person. I don't think it's gonna resonate for everybody. But Pisces, I think that you like the addiction that love brings into your life. Okay, and some of you may not see it as an addiction, but those warm feelings of falling in love, all right, Pisces, you may very well be addicted to that, okay? You may very well enjoy the beginning of a relationship, but not necessarily during the relationship or the end, okay? Like, you love the beginning because of all those chemicals that are being released in the mind space, okay? And like, it's actually a chemical thing, okay? That's why when they text you, you get that dopamine hit, you're smiling from ear to ear, and you're ready to like it hits you so strongly like a drug. When they don't, when they ghost you, when they don't text you, when they text somebody else or something along those lines, you literally feel like that drug is like, you have withdrawal symptoms. Some people can't sleep. Some people can't eat. Like, what does that sound like? That's a drug. Pisces, love is a drug. Love is a drug, Pisces, and you love love. You love the drug, Pisces, okay? 13:13 on the clock, okay? I didn't think this reading would come out this way, okay? I don't know, Pisces, why it's coming in like this, okay? This might be for somebody out there, but Spirit just showed me a vision, okay? Spirit showed me the vision of, you know how a lot of artists, okay, and singers and writers, they literally go out to fall in love, to get their heart broken, to produce amazing songs, amazing music, to write a book. Like, they legit go out there, fall in love purposely, okay, to get their heart broken, to produce amazing songs, the hit songs, the good movies, write a book. Like, so much comes from that process that artists and singers and musicians and just like these artistic characters and even writers, they go into it knowing the effects that it has on them, and they full on allow themselves to let go into that process so that they can create something beautiful from the destruction of it. Does that make sense? So Pisces, for some of you, I'm getting the message that you may very well be addicted to the feelings and the chemicals of love, okay? So maybe you're not even like, because what is love, okay? Let's dissect this a little bit more, because I know some people might not see this way, but the way that Spirit is showing it to me is like, you love Pisces, okay? And not just so much because you're a romantic at heart and you like romance and stuff, but you like the feeling of it, Pisces. Like, you like those chemicals in your brain being released. You like those text messages, you like listening to music and get lost in the music, and you like fantasizing and you like to see where it would all go. And then as soon as you take off the rose-colored glasses and you actually see the person that your mind has been telling you all along, hey, it's not adding up, the math is not adding up, this is not the person, this is not the relationship, this is not, it's like, wow, it's like all of a sudden you have withdrawal symptoms and the dopamine doesn't hit the same, right? It doesn't have that effect on you anymore. And so, yeah, you go through this entire death and rebirth process within yourself where you feel like you're literally dying inside. And then all of a sudden you get this attachment, okay? It's like, I want to feel that again. I don't want it to go away. Even though you know that person might not be for you, even though you know that person may not even be a good investment, it's like, I don't want that feeling to go away. I don't want that feeling to go away. And that's why sometimes you hold on to it. And so I don't even know how this message or why this message came through, but Pisces, this might just be for one person, okay? May just be for one person out there. But every connection that you have starts off as lighthearted and playful, and it's like, let's see where this goes, and it's like you're looking all sophisticated, and sometimes you're witty and clever, and you like that process. It's like you fell in love with the process of falling in love, not necessarily even the person or even the actual emotions, but more so the dopamine effects and the chemicals that are released. Like, it's very interesting, Pisces. I've never had a reading like this before. I've never channeled anything like this before. This may be very specific, Pisces, but it feels kind of unhealthy. I have to be honest. It feels kind of unhealthy, Pisces. And I feel like in this next phase of your life, you're going to navigate things very differently than you have in the past. Because time after time, doing what you've been doing, okay, has left you out in the cold and in connections that are not reciprocal, okay? So maybe you do look past the red flags. Maybe you do look for the best in others. Maybe you do see the potential of what could be and not necessarily what is. But to be honest, Pisces, I have to be honest, you've always known. You always know from the start, okay? That confusion that you feel is coming from the heart and the mind not being on the same page, okay? The heart just wants to continue like connecting and feeling love. Like, that's what the heart wants. The mind is like, okay, well, does this make logical sense? Is this even worth the investment? Do we even match up? Like, are we even compatible? And the heart's like, okay, we can look past that. We can look for common ground. We can look for the things that we have in common, and then look past everything else like that is not. It's like your mind's like, no, we have too many heartbreaks, too many mental, emotional breakdowns for me to look past that. It's like your mind has always known, Pisces. Like, you've always had that intelligence within you. You always know from the start. Yet the heart and the emotions try to overpower you, and it's like this war within you. And you have the Nine of Wands because you've survived every single one of those wars within your heart and your mind. But you're so wounded and so scarred, Pisces, and you're tired of it. You're tired of the way that relationships and connections have unfolded in your life, because time after time, you are left out in the cold, and the connection is never reciprocal. They can never give you what you can give. Because Pisces, you are an overgiver, okay? And so let's look at it this way. If you were in a relationship with, if a relationship was between two overgivers, it would balance out and it would work out beautifully. But oftentimes, Pisces, the people that you're attracting are takers, okay? And your mind always knows that. Your mind's like, red flags, it's not adding up, takers, okay? And your heart's like, oh, wow, maybe they can change. Maybe if I just show them unconditional love, maybe if I just show up as my best self, maybe if I'm just genuine, maybe they will match that. Who knows? Anything can change, right? And it's like your heart keeps doing that, but your mind's like, nope. This ain't the one, okay? And so what I see here is that you've been through a very toxic cycle in relationships, Pisces. You've always been the giver and they've always been the taker. Doesn't matter how many partners you've had, they've always been the taker and you've always been the giver. And so what I'm seeing here, Pisces, is to trust your better judgment, okay? So many people give too much importance to their emotions. And you know what? I think that in your case, Pisces, you need to balance out the emotions and not give them so much power over you. okay? Because what I'm seeing here in this next phase of your life is like, you're so freaking tired of the way that relationships have unfolded in your life. You want the sacred union. This is your heart's desire, Pisces. Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, Queen of Cups, Pisces. This is who you are. This is what you want. You love love, okay? And this reading is not to say that you're not going to get it. It's just saying that you're not going to get it the way that you've been going about it in the past. Things have to change from here on out, Pisces. Allow this last relationship, whatever this last heartbreak or disappointment was in your life, allow that to be the last one, and allow your mind and your heart to come into terms, to come into common ground and connect in some way where you can balance the emotions out with the logic, okay? Because the logic is not going to break your heart as much as the emotions, okay? The logic can very well keep you from relationships, but if you balance it out, because you have two aces, okay? Look how beautiful this balances out. Imagine if the mind and the heart work together, okay? In this next relationship that you want to attract into your life, imagine if the heart and the mind work together. Okay, the emotions are there, I feel it, but I'm going to be very logical about this. I'm going to see if it even adds up. I'm going to see if we're compatible. I'm going to pay attention to the red flags. I'm not going to overgive. I'm not going to overinvest. I'm going to allow things to unfold. And maybe I'm going to even change the way that I seek for a partner and what I even seek in a partner. Because again, a relationship between two givers, Pisces, can be very successful. But oftentimes, because you allow the emotions to guide you, and maybe even the passion, Eight of Wands, okay? This is that kind of passion that comes in so fast, so intense, and then it just burns everything to the ground and it leaves as fast as it came. It's like, you're realizing, okay, maybe I just went through a disappointment. Maybe I just went through a heartbreak. Does that mean that I'm never going to love again? Does that mean I'm just going to close the doors? Okay, because I've done that in the past, okay? This is somebody who's done it in the past. It's like you've gone through periods in your life, Pisces, where you're so open and so loving, and you open the doors, and then you get your heart broken, and then you go ice cold. And then you're like, no relationships, no connections, I'm closing the door forever. And then it's like, you don't win, okay? It's like, you go into the emotions, you get your heart broken. You go ice cold, and you feel empty sometimes and detached from the experience, and you don't feel like you feel like something is missing. So it's like you either open the doors or you close them, or you go cold or you go super hot, but it's like an imbalance in your energy, okay? Again, Six of Pentacles in the reverse. There's an imbalance in your energy that is reflecting in your relationships and connections. So, Pisces, this is very interesting because what I'm seeing here is there is a divine union coming into your life. And this energy, okay, this dynamic right here, we've seen in more than 3 readings already, okay? Water and earth, okay? These two elements go very well together, okay? Whether it's an actual zodiac sign like a Pisces getting with an earth sign, or whether it's just embodying those qualities. But Pisces, the kind of connection that is going to really be successful in your life for the ones that have not found that in their experience yet is one where you can be nurturing, but they can give you that foundation and that safety to where you can be a giver and they can return that for you. Okay, this is the King of Pentacles. He brings the freaking table. Okay, you bring the nourishment, the beautiful energy that you bring into the table is reciprocated with the earth. All right, what happens with water and earth? Plants, trees grow. Okay, life happens. Two of Cups, a divine union, a divine counterpart, okay? So I'm seeing here, Pisces, that there is some healing and balancing that you need to do within your energy because there is a very beautiful connection coming in. Two of Cups, okay? But there are changes that need to happen within you, or else you're going to end up here again, okay? Because this is a pattern that has repeated many times in your life, to where you feel like you end up losing and things are not reciprocated. So the right person can come around at the wrong time because maybe you haven't done this healing or this balancing act between your heart and your mind. Okay? Because you have two aces, Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords. If you were to connect the mind and the heart and make decisions in a very balanced way when it comes to connections and not just go for all the passion or not just go with all the emotion, then you would achieve something that is long-term and lasting, and something that would just work well together. Okay? And with the Chariot, I'm seeing that you're moving on to this next phase of your life where things are going to start shifting for you on an energetic level. And this time is very prosperous to start making those changes. Okay? Because this kind of union, okay, I can give you a time frame, but that's not going to matter if you haven't done this balancing act. Okay? It is not about going out ice cold and closing the doors. It is not about being all emotional and just loving up on the first person that comes into your life, or over-investing and over-giving. It's not. It's some kind of balance in between. Because what I'm seeing here is when connections come into your life, they come in hot and heavy, all right? Intense, all right? And oftentimes because they come in with so much passion and you have so much emotion, it's like you think, wow. And what happens with, okay, so this is interesting. So we're talking more about the elements, okay? What happens with water and fire? Water can completely put the fire out, okay? But also fire can boil the water and evaporate the water. So the connection between water and fire, Pisces, it's sometimes can be very toxic. It can be very passionate and very intense, but it can easily turn toxic, okay? So I'm not saying that all fire signs are going to be toxic. No, not necessarily, but that energy that is embodied by the passion, like that fire that burns so bright but also leaves so quick and it goes nowhere, where it just boils and evaporates the water, or the water just puts out the fire, that feels like toxic, a toxic connection, okay? But now look at this dynamic, water and earth, okay? The earth grounds the water, and the water nourishes the earth, and then plants, trees, everything grows from that. This is a very different kind of energy dynamic, Pisces, and this feels more like a divine counterpart than this. Hot and heavy, just because it feels good, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you, okay? And so, Pisces, there's a lot of things that you may need to think about. Again, not going to say that this is for everybody. This sounds very specific, okay? This sounds like a dynamic and a pattern that has been unfolding in your life, that has constantly taken you to the Five of Pentacles, okay? Feeling left out in the cold. And so, Pisces, this might just be for one person. This might just be for a few people out there. But I have to channel this reading because it feels like you either are ice cold or you're all emotions. Okay? It's like you're either drowning in emotions or you're ice cold. And neither one of these energies serves you. There needs to be a balance, okay, between the mind and the heart, okay? And again, there is a new connection that is going to be coming into your life. I'm not going to say that it's happening soon or anything like that. It's going to happen whenever you achieve this balance. And remember, not just because it feels good, not just because it's hot and heavy, doesn't mean that it's good for you, okay? Just because sugar is sweet doesn't mean that it's good for you, okay? So there's a balancing act that needs to happen, Pisces, and that's coming from your maturity, okay? Because this cycle has unfolded for whoever this reading is. You've been through this cycle every single time, okay? So again, this might only resonate with one person out there, but this message needs to come out for whoever that is. Because look at this connection and how much potential there is to this connection. Look how well they complement each other. She holds the cup, he holds the pentacle. Divine union between the two. So again, could very well be an earth sign. Not going to throw any timelines out there or signs, because it doesn't really matter, Pisces. Because if you work on this specifically within yourself, you're going to be breaking a major pattern in your life to where you can have this divine connection in your life. Okay? It's not about saying, oh, love isn't for me, I'm just going to close the doors. Every time I go soft, things go wrong. And no, it's not about that. And it's not also about saying, you know what, I'm just going to let it happen. I'm just going to flow with it. If it feels good, then I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to look past the red flags and I'm just going to love them through this process and I'm just going to overgive in the hopes that they'll return it. No. So there's a balance, Pisces. And there's also a need to know your worth through it all. To sit on your throne and allow yourself to receive. Okay, not always go out there, not be the one that initiates, but allow yourself to receive. And you'll know when you're in illusion, Pisces. You'll know because your mind's going to tell you. Your emotions can very well keep you underwater, but your mind's always going to be sharp. Okay, so don't discredit the mind. Okay, a lot of people say, oh, let your heart lead the way. Yeah, let your heart lead the way, but take the mind with you. Okay? There's a reason why we have a mind, okay? There's a reason why we have both a heart and a mind, because they're both very important. In Pisces, you're ruled by the heart and you're ruled by the waters. So instead of flip-flopping from going ice cold to drowning in emotions, some kind of balance that happens. Here's the key. For whoever this reading is, this is the key to break out of the cycle of non-reciprocal relationships and being left out in the cold constantly. Okay? Hot and heavy doesn't always mean that it's good for you. And this Queen of Cups and this King of Pentacles, honestly, this feels like a divine counterpart and a divine union. But it can only come in when you've balanced this out within yourself, Pisces. Yeah. That's all I have, Pisces. This is actually not what I was expecting for a reading. Because even for like on a collective energy right now, I feel like a lot of focus is on foundations, on abundance, on prosperity, on focusing on the things that bring us fulfillment and stuff. It doesn't necessarily feel like the focus is on love, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because when you don't focus on love, when you don't focus on relationships, is when things can easily flow into your life. However, there is something that you have to do to break out of the cycle. If not, you're going to continuously get this, okay? And whoever this reading is for, whoever I'm talking to, you've lived this cycle so many times, okay? For some of you, like more than 11 times, okay? Like for some of you 6 times, for some of you 5 times, but it's been a perpetual cycle that it starts so hot and heavy and passionate and intense, and you're feeling all the emotions. Again, you're addicted to the feelings of love, and this is where it ends up. Every single time, Pisces. Every single time. Maybe you've been through this 9 times. You got the 9 of Wands, okay? Who knows, okay? Who knows? But what I'm saying here is that it is a perpetual cycle. And this is the key to breaking free from that. And this is what a divine counterpart would look like, what a divine relationship would look like. Okay, it's not the hot and heavy. It's not necessarily the sugar that is sweet and tastes good, but not good for your health. It's more like this, okay? This is what a healthy relationship looks like. This is what a healthy relationship looks like. This is where an actual divine union can happen. So Pisces, again, I don't know. I didn't want to do a love reading, honestly. I wasn't expecting that. This might just be for one person out there. I feel like there's, like, everybody is so connected right now on a collective level that the dynamic that continues to unfold is like a lot of toxic relationships are being let go of right now for 2023, okay? But 2023 is also setting you up for success for something that is going to work out. But if you bring the old dynamic, the old way of doing things, you're going to end up here again. It's like you get a clean slate, you get a new start. But if you take in the same habits and the same dynamics, you're going to continuously get the same outcome. And so the reason why this reading is even coming through, Pisces, is because this opportunity for the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups, again, you have the Ace of Cups, new beginning in love, right? But you have to go about it differently for this union to happen. So there is such thing as the right person, wrong time. Why would it be the wrong time? Maybe because the work hasn't been done. Maybe because this balance hasn't been achieved. But now at least you know. Whoever this reading is for, again, it's not going to resonate for everybody. This is the key to your success in relationships and in love, okay? So this is all I have for this reading, Pisces. If you would like a private reading, all the information is in the description box below. This is all I have, Pisces. Blessings. Take care.